Only mute the
Yeah, good evening, all of you. So today we have all joined to share our thoughts and our vision, our programs, and our uh, with the global HR department women's wing. So I'm glad that many of our students are joining, and I think the GHRT members are also joining, have joined. Let us have this platform for interacting and knowledge sharing. So I hope in couple of minutes all the participants will be ready. So that the members of GHRD will take over and interact with all of us.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bharti Indraganti, part of GHRD, acting as moderator for the today's session on women empowerment and the new dimensions. The expected panel, as shared with all of you so far, we will be waiting for next 5 minutes for all the participants to be on board and also the panelists to be on board. So far, I see the participants, including the panelists, around 139. The registrations are 500. So let's wait for another 5 minutes so that I'm sure this might shoot up to 200 a minimum, even at a ratio of 30-40%. So as everyone logs in, we can start the session. The flow, for your understanding, would be initially the introduction of the panelists, what they have achieved so far, and a brief intro. Then a bit of learning about GHRD, what is GHRD all about, and who takes it forward, and who owns it as such, and who is driving behind it. And then we would then move on to the panelist with a one-on-one discussion, which happens in an interviewing format. So there are a certain set of questions that we all have to discuss today, being the platform of women empowerment and the new dimensions, while understanding that from various perspectives, social, psychological, legal, from all the respects. Once we are through it, at the end of the session, there is 15 minutes left out for us for winding of the session, which includes 10 minutes of question and answer session and 5 minutes for the vote of thanks. So this is the breakup of the entire time of 1 hour 30 minutes today. We have already at the 4th minute, so which means that we'll be waiting here for next 3 to 5 minutes for all the panelists and the participants to be online, and then we can kickstart the meeting. Thank you once again, each one of you, for taking out time and being part of this learning platform. And thanks to GHRD for creating this opportunity for me and for all of you as a learning. Thank you. Mrs. Srinivas, are you there?
Yeah, madam.
Can you just notify if all the panelists are available? I just see Neha, Radhakrishna Murthy Garu, and for now. So can you just confirm if others are also available on the call?
Yeah,
check it.
he is there, madam.
Madam Uma will be joining in next 5 minutes, she said.
Namaste, Bharati madam. I'm Dr. Padmakshi
Oh,
here.
yeah,
Already
sure, sure. How about Neha? She's there?
Bharti, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Usha, are you there? Yeah, Usha Rajagopalan. Okay, I'm sure they must be joining soon. So while Madam Uma joins us, so let's kickstart the event today. Once again, welcome you all for this highly appreciated knowledge sharing platform where industry experts have taken out their time to share their knowledge and experiences with us today on the eve of International Women's Day. This being 55th meeting organized by GHRD. So today, basically we are trying to cover all those points which as freshers, because we have today a combination of freshers from the industry and also the industry experts for that matter. So let's focus on various elements of women empowerment. So Madam Uma Rao is also here. Thank you, Madam, for joining us today. So let me take you quickly through the panelists we have today. Madam Uma Rao, Dr. Padmakshi Lokesh, Ms. Usha Rajagopalan, Dr. Usha Rajagopalan, Mr. Radhakrishna Murthy Garu, and Ms. Neha Manchanda. Ms. Vani is supposed to join, so not very sure as to if she can make out due to some other emergency. So to move on with our day's session, just wanted to brief you on what GHRD is all about. GHRD is a platform created by Srinivas and a couple of other HR professionals, which is as on today operating in several locations. And then for sure, this is a very excellent platform that I would say, since they are not charging anything, and at the same time, they have been creating a learning platform like today's session at various kind of observances. It could be International Men's Day, International Women's Day. It could be several other areas that GHRD would be handling day in, day out to cover all the segments of the society. So as on today, it has got 32,000 plus talented HR professionals, around 27 chapters across India. So a big wow to the team which has been working behind it. Great job. So moving further, these are the locations where GHRD operates as on today. I see tip to toe. So start from JNK to Kerala, everything, every state is covered. So highly remarkable job by the team working here. Even if you see the panel that is set today, the team has ensured that there is a representation of all the geographies as well, while maintaining this platform of learning, so that the representation comes from every state. Then Srinivas Gopalam, please note down, all of you please note down this email ID, which might be a avenue for fresher as well as to the person who has got a good industry exposure, because this is the platform that they have created to bring us all onto the same line of learning. So here are the colleges which are supporting GHRD. A big thank you for all the colleges, Geetam, MICFI, DRF, and also Sarojini Devi College, which has been a major supporter for today's event. So this is where we are today, the purpose of today's session, where we what we want to discuss and take through. So GHRD cordially invites you all for the 55th session, where we wish to discuss on women empowerment and the new dimensions to it. IWD theme for this year is Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, which I strongly and personally believe that once if there is nothing called as a man or a men or a women or a male or a female, when that entirely goes off the mind from us, where there is no bias, then we don't have to have a session like this to discuss about who is actually being downtrodden, who is not being focused, who needs to be developed, and who needs to be helping the others to develop. So that part comes only when there is a difference or when there is a bias. So the moment the bias is broken, I think we are there where we are actually aiming at. So thank you for all the panelists over here, Madam Uma and Padmakshi Lokesh, Usha Rajagopalan. I think Vani is not there on the call, and Radhakrishnamurthy Garu and Neha Manchala. So to quickly take you through Madam Uma. So this is what she has been. I know her personally for last 5 years, a highly energetic women leader who has been supporting all the youngsters in their learning and has been mentor for most of the freshers as well. So she's a compassionate HR professional with experience across the gamut of HR function. She has worked in various industries like petroleum, IT, telecom, FMCG, and automotive. In leadership roles since a decade and a half, Uma is passionate about mentoring young professionals and women in particular, currently working as a VP HR at Ashok Leyland. She's a dynamic woman and a collaborative leader from whom there is a lot that the younger HR fraternity gets to learn. Thank you, Madam Uma, for being on board today. Padmakshi Lokesh is here, and Dr. Padmakshi Lokesh, she is basically a psychologist and a doctor, an educationalist, stress management specialist, and a personality development trainer with 15 years of experience. If someone who has been so active on Facebook would have seen her post tremendous work that she does in the state of Karnataka. So as I go with the rewards and recognitions, the space was actually not sufficient for me. So that's where I have to crunch this down. She has been awarded and recognized with so many achievements. Sorry, I missed out important part of one of the hobbies that Madam Uma has is poetry. And then these are the hidden talents of the panelists today. Dr. Padmakshi Lokesh, her hidden talent is pencil sketching. Next being Usha. Usha is basically works for Aura Global Training and Consulting. She owns this. She's associated as a channel partner for McGrath Institute of Leadership, MILT Chennai. She is a chief mentor in Brain Rhyme Cognizant Solutions. Her research interest includes transformation leadership and perceived organizational support and OCB, on which I wish if she could focus on covering certain points with respect to this in today's session. Her hidden talent is mimicry. Thank you, Usha, for being here with us today. The most famous face in HR and being a person from the legal background, Moti sir is the person whom we actually, as a industry, once we get into HR, I think most of us know him for the work that he has been doing for the HR fraternity and the legal perspective. Dr. Radhakrishnamurthy is a practicing advocate in High Court of Telangana and AP, both original and appellate jurisdiction, and also a corporate legal consultant, advisor since 1987, practicing in the area of industrial.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Shanul Bhai बोलिए.
Can you please mute your phones?
हाँ मैं डाल दूंगा. Actually मैं भूल गया. मैं अभी डाल देता. खत्म हो गया आज.
Can you please mute them?
या हो गया है. सिंगल कोड भी डाल दिया. पिंक कलर है.
Bharti madam,
वो डार्क पिंक है ना.
वो नहीं डाला.
Yeah, Srinivas is controlling the session today.
कलर फाइनल करने के बाद
Srinivas,
Yes.
can you please mute them?
एक के बाद एक करना पड़ता है मैडम. उसके सीटे इस पे
समझ में. हाँ.
ये करने के बाद डाल दो.
ठीक है मैं अभी डाल दूंगा.
ठीक है.
कल सुबह कितना बजे आएगा? 10 o'clock ठीक है हाँ सर भी आएगा मैं भी मोस्टली आऊंगा नहीं तो सर तो आ
Sir,
जाए
please.
Sirisha madam, please.
Srinivas, can you
Everybody.
please mute them?
And mute everybody and only Bharti can unmute yourself.
Okay, great. Thank you. So hope I am audible, right?
Yeah, audible, madam.
Great. Okay. The flow has broken. I'm so sorry for that. So again, the challenge of technology, since we are all working on the virtual world. So going back to the to know about Muti sir. So he has been practicing in the areas of industrial and labor and employment and corporate legal matters, core competency in labor and employment laws, and strategic IR and HR. So while we get to know more about HR and have several issues with regards to the legal domain, Mr. Murthy is here to bring us that perspective of legal aspect, POSH, where a women employee can approach and what are the avenues that help her in dealing with various kind of situations in the career at the job location. So you can raise up your questions with that. So sir's hidden talent is poetry. So Neha Manchinda, she is here and she comes from a hospitality background and has got 5-star hotel experience like Hyatt and ITC, has been working there, and also served in aviation industry as an air hostess in Kingfisher Airlines. Due to her keen interest in connecting with people, she is now in human intelligence expert and a corporate trainer who understands individual challenges using multiple intelligence analysis and help people perform in all the aspects in their lives. So possibly someone having queries with regards to the human intelligence can please put their questions across during our Q&A session today to make the best use of this platform. And her hidden talent is dance, which she had to reveal for us today. Madam Mani wouldn't be joining us today. So there comes the end of this particular PPT, wherein we have questionnaires, question and answer sort of interaction today at various on various topics. So let me put the process across. One after the other, the team is here to interact. So my first question would be to Madam Uma. What is the role of male allyship in creating a balanced workplace? How can women leverage this to grow in their career? Can you please focus on this and enlighten us on that?
Thank you so much, Bharti, and thanks to GHRD for inviting me over for this very important topic about which I'm passionate about women and their matters and their issues, and of course, how to make them feel more empowered, right? So I'm also very privileged to share the dais with some very eminent people, Mr. Radhakrishna Murthy and Ms. Usha and Ms. Padma and all the others. So thank you so much. Now on the topic of, and of course I can't forget to thank Srinivas for doing a wonderful job of GHRD. So now on the topic of male allyship, and I think this is something which has come up a lot in discussions lately, right? So far, it appeared as if the women's movement was all restricted to women. Like they have to do things to make themselves better, and they have to improve their personality, their skills, their confidence levels, work-life balance, and all of that. But I think the most important aspect of having women get their due in an organization and a society is about how the climate is and how the men around are actually responding to the situation, right? Because all said and done, if I were to look at engineering companies, largely, it's heavily male dominated. Many organizations are heavily male dominated. The female population is really very small. And whoever is in majority has the greater voice. Now, some of the men may disagree with me and say that their wives have got more voice in the house, but that's really restricted to the house. If we talk of the work environment, I think what is important to note is whoever has the larger voice has the ears of decision makers. And that is where women suffer a lot, because they're always in a minority, and we're not very sure whether we're being well represented in the various forums about what we need, right? And therefore, the male allyship, what is an ally? An ally is a friend, right? So male allyship is very, very important for us, okay? I don't think the movement for making lives better for women will go very far if the men are not with us, right? Now, this I say with a lot of conviction of having seen, the various circumstances in different organizations over the years. And again, let us not mistake allyship as paternalistic actions. For example, I'm not looking for someone who's going to protect me. I don't want people to protect me. I think I'm strong enough to protect myself. I don't want someone who says, give her a chance, because you need to give something to a woman. That's not what we're looking for. I don't want someone to say that, oh, okay, for every 5 guys, we're going to give one opportunity to a woman. I'm not even looking for that. What I'm looking for is genuinely someone who's with you in whatever you're trying to do and gives voice to what you're trying to do, right? I mean, this is not the days of chivalry where, somebody will open the vehicle for you and make you sit. I don't care really about that, if somebody does it or not. But if a male colleague represents the voice of the women in key forums, that is actually allyship. If a male colleague understands that there are multi-dimensional roles a woman has to play, and therefore makes a work schedule around that, giving that little flexibility, that is what I consider as a male allyship. If the male in the team, decides to use everybody's strengths to deliver something, that is what I would consider as a male allyship. Versus a situation where, suppose, the woman has a small child. She has a compulsion to get back home at a particular time, and this individual insists that she has to work till late, or gives her something which she's not able to complete within that time, and she also has to meet her commitments. That is a complete opposite of male allyship. So male allyship is about friendship. What happens with friends? With friends, you're very giving, you're very receiving, you're very broad-minded, and you are very accommodating in many ways. And you're also a person who shows the mirror. Okay, the best friend is one who can actually show a mirror. So I think a male ally for all women is one who is able to stand by that individual. Am I not audible, Bharti?
You're audible, madam. Please go on.
Yeah, okay. So is the individual who is able to stand by with the women, not give any kind of concessions, we don't need that. Not give us any fatherly, brotherly advice and all that. We have fathers and brothers at home, and I don't think we're looking for more people in the workplace. But here is someone who is listening, is willing to understand, and willing to tweak in with a little bit of flexibility to make things better for the whole team. Yeah, think about diversity of different nature. What if you had people with disabilities, right? You would have to work your work processes in such a way that this person is included into a scheme of things, right? Look at a person who's a LGBT constituency. You will have to make things work around in such a way that that individual is comfortable. Suppose you have people who have autism, right? And so many companies are employing them. You would tweak your systems a little bit to make it better for them. And at the end of the day, you're not doing any favor on them. This is for the whole organization to benefit from the diversity. So I think male allyship is extremely important. And this is going to be the defining thing for most organizations as we go forward. It's not so much only policies. It's not so much only a quota. But I think if the larger population is not with you and not willing to work with you and not willing to support you, then no matter what best policies you have, it's never going to work. For example, when I was working in IBM, we had a work from home policy. But when we looked at the statistics, there were only 4% women in that Global Development Center who had taken the work from home, benefit or policy. Why is it so? I'm sure many women would have wanted it, but how come they did not go for it, right? And that's where this whole cultural piece comes into context, and the whole male allyship comes into context. If men are not, and most of the times the leaders are men, and therefore their involvement in the resources matters. Over to you, Bharti.
Yeah, sure. Srinivas, can you please mute everyone apart from the panelists and myself? We can unmute ourselves when needed. I still see a couple of them talking, so it's better that with the flow as they go, there shouldn't be any hindrance. My next point is to be discussed by Ms. Padmakshi Lokesh. We wish you to take us through the various factors causing stress and anxiety in the current day working women workforce. Ms. Padmakshi Lokesh, can you please take us through how does that happen?
Good evening, everybody. I'm sure all of you are sitting at the comfort zones of your own house and listening to all of us. That's one of the beautiful things which actually happened during Corona, that we are all still dressed up very well and in the working from the comfort zone of our homes. But that is wonderful. But I want to tell one thing: 22% people have reported extreme loneliness and isolation, which is the previous step to depression, were seen in work from home professionals, and the numbers were high in women. Very good evening, all of you. GHRD has come up with such a wonderful program, and it gives me immense pleasure to talk to you all for two reasons. First one, me being a woman talking about women problems, it's always a pleasure to try to solve a few issues with of our own tribe. And then second reason being happy is a lot of men sitting out there. What are we women without men? So definitely thank you all for joining. And third reason is, as always, talking about mental health about women gives me immense happiness, because wherever I go, if I ask somebody, hi, how are you? The instant response is like, oh, I'm okay. I mean, they can even drag more than this also, depending on their mental status on that day. Why is this happening? I just don't even understand that. She was made to break every possible barriers which she was, which was meant to destroy her, and that she is woman. Trust me, every woman is having an issue. It's not that one person has, the other person doesn't have. But with behind those beautiful lipsticks on the work from home people, all those problems that they try to cover it. Good, I totally appreciate that. But what happens once they mute their mic and their videos, they started texting their friends like, oh my God, my life has become like this. I'm totally lonely. I'm totally feeling bad. I'm totally feeling sad and all that stuff. So work from home is actually caused less traveling time and all, which many of them agree. But there are so many of them who have said, I was really better when I was traveling. At least I used to sit in the traffic and I had my own time. My time was there. I was at least sure that I'll go and meet my friend, my colleagues and everybody. I could discuss my issues with them. And these are the kind of the things which people have actually told me. The day before yesterday, there is a lady who sits in front of me and she says, why the hell this Corona came? And the husband says, thank God Corona came. So it was like the discussion between the husband and the wife. The husband is happy because the wife is at home and is taking care of of their child. And the wife says, oh my God, I was really very happy going out of my house. At least I had some time break from these people out here. So when it comes to women empowerment, and when we are talking about gender equality, I am somebody who says balance is not between both the sexes. Balance has to be in your brain to live your life of reality. Uma madam, I when you said it's not just women all about, it's not about just women, it's men also. I totally echo your words. And there's still wonderful speakers who will be speaking about a lot of information. As usual, our Bharti madam, you really doing a great job as a moderator. See, this is balance all about. Everything, we are all sitting here in the middle, there's somebody talking, and then we are asking Srinivas sir, please unmute them. Life is like this. We all know we are supposed to unmute ourselves. We are supposed to keep the video off in a Zoom call, but we still do it. Why? WHY is my question. I'm not going to answer it, but I'm sure if you get the answer to this, you will really understand the balance between work and life. Listen, we all busy making a living, busy earning, busy making money, but we all forget that we have to have a life to live. So I tell all those women out there, and especially men also, give time for yourself, because it's the best gift you have got. You've got wonderful 10 fingers, 10 toes, eyes, nose, everything, and we're still complaining. What else do you want? If you have one extra finger, trust me, you have a problem. If you have one extra eye like Lord Shiva, you still have a problem. So with whatever you have to balance your life. If that doesn't happen, I want to give you wonderful figures, fact and figures, which will probably scare you. Anxiety rates have gone by 20% hike. Depression rates have gone by 25% high because of work from home. I don't blame that. But what are they actually doing? They're totally unable to disconnect from the working time and the free time. They eat in front of the camera. I mean, they the only thing they cannot do is dash, dash, dash. I don't know. The rest of everything is in front of the camera itself, and during the work time itself. Please don't do that. You should have a proper demarcation between your work and real life too. If you are working from 6 to 8, you might as well work from 6 to 8. And they're working till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You know why? You're doing it because the whole time from 6 to 8, you were just wasting your time. Once you suddenly realize from 7 o'clock that you have to start working, that's when you're like bucking up and doing things. Please stop doing that. When you have enough time to do your work, please do that and stop at that. A clear-cut demarcation between your work and your life. And then post that you have a life. Please give time for your family, give time for yourself. Eat very well. Please don't eat in front of your computer, your camera. And there are your group mates or your teammates or your subordinates, your juniors. They also know what you have prepared at home. It's not a necessity that they have to know it at all. Please keep your plates, wash your hand, drink water, and come and sit here. I have told this because there are children who tell me, I asked a child, why is that you're behaving like this? No, my mummy also work from home. She also does like this. So I also do like that. If you want to be better examples to the world and the society, you might as well be one than just telling somebody to do that. Work-life balance is not outside. Work-life balance is absolutely inside your brain. You want your life to be wonderful, stop complaining, start living a life. Life is only one, and you don't have a compensation for that, or you don't have another life. Thank you so much. And then somebody who's speaking out there, thank you. Please unmute yourself. I would appreciate that. And then sunshine is free, air is free, water is free. And then the food you eat is also not very costly. And you just need to stretch regularly. Trust me, these 5 things are very free. Do it on a regular basis. And then your work-life balance is going to be wonderful. Most of them have forgotten how the sun looks. They may think it's in triangular in shape. No, it is actually round in shape. Just go and check it out once. And water is exactly this color. It is not any other color. So most of them tell me this. I don't even know how much water I drink. What are you going to do in life? You could not drink water properly. You couldn't even sleep properly on time. You couldn't even eat your breakfast. You don't even know what you're eating. There is a lady who tells me, I just keep doing this. I don't even know what I'm eating. So that is something called motor coordination, hand motor coordination. Your brain's dash. I don't even use a wonderful word here because it's, I mean, most of the children are also sitting out there. Your brain has got totally jammed up because you don't even know what you're eating. You're supposed to chew 23 times in your mouth. There is something called salivary amylase. Half the digestion takes place. But there are people who come and tell me, I don't know what time I ate. I might have eaten at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock in the night, they're just thinking they might have had their dinner. So please, people, eat dinner on time, sleep on time. The main work-life balance is going to be absolutely balanced. If at all, you're going to sleep on time. Sleep on time is not your time. The time where the whole world tells you that is the time. And that time is post 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That's the time. If you're doing a night shift, I'm not talking about that. And 6 to 8 hours a day. Everybody knows it, but they still don't do it. You know why? Because we're very happy complaining. We are very happy being that agony people. Oh, my life is like that. Because somebody is going to tell them, hey, oh, is it even my life is like that? No, let's be examples for better things than to be examples for unwanted things. Work-life balance is here. It is not anywhere else. Just open your eyes and get it straight. Thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity. Srinivas sir, Bharati, as usual, you're rocking. Uma madam, wonderful words. Neha, waiting to listen to you all. And when you talk about women empowerment, trust me, 45 to 60% here are women only. And still you're looking for empowerment. Ladies, you don't need empowerment. You are already too much empowered. It is just that you need to have realization. Self-realization is what is going to lead to work-life balance. Thank you so much, Bharti. Over to you.
Yeah, sure. So possibly while Padmakshi was discussing something which I thought that I should be bringing to the discussion platform is the screen time that all of us keep spending. The screen time has got so much hypes of late, and then kids at this generation are much better than us in using the technology. It's just because they have started to use it so much, appreciated, but at the same time, at the cost of what? Just because we are busy with our own stuff, we just give them phone. I have seen 60 to 70% of the kids, the very younger kids, are fed only with a phone in the hand. So how long are we going to have this as a practice? Just keep a phone in their hand and keep feeding. They don't know what they are eating. They don't know why they are eating, how much they are eating. And there is no tap on anything. And then we are diverting them with a phone and then feeding them into the mouth, which actually doesn't serve any purpose. Live the moment. If you are sleeping, focus on sleeping. If you are eating, focus on eating. If you're doing anything XYZ, just focus on doing the same thing. Let's not get into too many things at the same time and mess up with everything.
So, ma'am, I'll just add one point. When you said screen time, probably if you look at us, we all are still probably seeing with our own two eyes, you know. You just look at the younger generations, they already have such things.
Yeah, I was in fact coming there, Padmakshi. So I have been to an ophthalmologist last week to take my mom there. 60% of the patients are less than 30-year-old. And I'm sure with the seniors having glaucoma and other problems with the eyes, that's all understood. But then it's just because of the screen time and not managing that particular part, they approach towards the television. They sit so close, they sit in front of the mobile or the tabs for so long hours, which actually is bringing them the eye related problems. Most of them don't take a proper vitamin A diet, which is leafy vegetables. My own kid at home, not once in a month, she would wish to have something like a leafy vegetable. They don't even know how it looks like. They're okay with the French fries and stuff, but not the real A vitamin food, or they don't bifurcate as to what is to be taken in and what is not to be taken with regards to the health chart. So no one wants that. So thank you, Padmakshi, for bringing these elements here.
One more point. You want to scare everybody, just tell them, all of you, you want to look beautiful, you might as well sleep very well. Else, forget about wonderful hair, forget about a beautiful smile, and forget about fair color under eyes. If you're going to say these points, people are going to listen to you. If you're going to talk work-life balance, you're going to talk about creativity, you talk about resourceful, everybody are like, oh, come on, yeah, chill. Just tell all of them, more than work-life balance, you want to be beautiful, but then might as well sleep very well. Then comes the balance. Yeah.
Sure. So moving on to Usha Rajagopalan, Usha, we wish you to focus on certain points as to what sort of behavioral changes have to be brought in women with regards to having this women empowerment, or the points that Padmakshi Lokesh has just discussed as to having the reasons for stress and anxiety. What do you think are the factors, what changes have to be brought in the behavioral aspects?
Yes. Thank you. I won't be able to keep my video on since I'm traveling.
Sure,
so
no problem.
I'm in the security check. Yes. So thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And even before that, I would like to start with this quote, which says that I measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women has achieved. That is by B.R. Ambedkar. So with this itself, we will come to know that why we need to have this women empowerment. And others, just as others said, that women empowerment has already been done. The thing is,
Usha, you have muted yourself. Yeah.
Yes, now I am on. So I measure the progress of the country or the place by the degree to which the progress of the women. So Naritru, Just a second, just a second. So with that itself, we'll come to know that what is the power of women empowerment. So if we have to go about that, as everybody has said that women empowerment has already been done, what we need to do is we just need to have the affirmation from the women's side. We need to affirm and reaffirm, and it can inspire other women also. Do you all agree that when a woman gets empowered, what happens to the other women? We all follow the other women and we all want to be like the other women. That is actually the behavioral pattern of a woman. So to inspire oneself and to others is the first point which I keep here today for women empowerment. But if you see the statistics of how women empowerment takes place, it takes place in 2-3 instances. I'll come to the behavioral pattern later. But first thing is empowerment through education, empowerment through mentoring, breaking the stereotypes. That will all happen only when you have empowerment in profession. So when you have empowerment in profession, thereby automatically the women's role in leadership roles, as in last time also when we had a discussion, executive leadership has been given more. Recently, it has been given more power into the roles of women in leadership roles. So that will then again give more roles in leadership roles. Empowerment with entrepreneurship. I'd like to give an instance which has happened in Vietnam, wherein people in farming has been given more empowerment because their farming is the most important thing which takes place. So how did they do empowerment in this? Such a very beautiful instance which I can quote is, they had discussion roles of women and men of the family. A discussion between the family has taken place, by the government has taken a step, and they have involved women also in that for farming. So if a country like Vietnam will be able to do that, why not a country like India? So empowerment and entrepreneurship is very much needed. And how can these, in turn develop the society will be, you ensure better equal rights. So when all this is being done, we ensure the equal rights of women in that. And also when we say empowerment, what are the things we say that, we feel that it is being empowered is when there is a right to do whatever we want to do. That is what is empowerment. Say those days are gone when we say that the kids cannot choose their own, this is not your line. But now even in a mechanical graduate, when I was doing my MBA, there was only one girl in that mechanical batch out of 45. So that I considered as woman empowerment. So now I'm feeling that those are the words which we can give for that. So when there is a right to study, when there is a right to grow, when there is a right to explore your capability, and when there is a right to educate yourself and others, when you let do things itself is empowerment. I would like to say that the mom and the father in the house will say that we have spent enough. So those days are gone, and now people are encouraging the kids. And I would also like to quote a word which says that it is not women empowerment, it should be girl empowerment. I say that it should be a girl empowerment these days to bring in more empowermental activities in women. Coming to the behavioral changes and behavioral patterns, if you take psychology, what is a behavioral pattern is when the behavior which is continuously taking place, then it becomes a pattern. So just as we say a design, so that's what is a behavioral pattern. So if behavioral patterns are being recognized by algorithms or any other activity, then you will come to know like why people are behaving. And it is not going to be constant. It's going to be keep on changing with the situation. It is going to keep on changing with what surroundings they are in. So we have to understand this behavioral pattern. Behavioral patterns will be important to understand. Enhancing the opportunity. There was a program called Enhancing Opportunity for Women's Enterprises. So I would also like to quote a point in that. So this complex linking of the behavior. Yes, that's all. So this has to be done. What we need to do is, there was a fun fact. Whenever we perform the same task, what do? We encounter the same thing or we encounter the different thing. Whenever we do, say cooking or say eating, so it does differ. It does differ day by day. So analyzing this pattern is very, very important to analyze the situation, the task at hand. So I would like to quote that we need to create an inroad for all the women who are upcoming leaders or upcoming entrepreneurs, so that this women ever takes place in a higher standard. Thanks. Thank you for this opportunity, Srinivas Garu and Bhakti.
Yeah, thank you, Usha. So a few things that we might also have to discuss here about is what we have been learning of late with all the kind of examples that are being set on Disha and all these cases also, how a boy child should be behaving towards a girl child and a girl child behaving towards a boy child. Everyone being brought up in a co-ed kind of environment,
Yes.
each one respecting the other gender and then treating everyone with respect. Then the behavioral patterns as to don't teach your girl child how not to be in the society, teach your
Correct.
boy child also how to be in the society. So do's and don'ts occur with everyone, could be a girl child or a boy child. For most of the moms in the early 50s 60s was that a boy child and a girl child are very equal, but then a boy child is little more equal than a girl child, including my mom. She just says, you're a girl, you have to understand. Okay, I understand. So at the same time, my brother also is setting an example for his own girl child while he is making her compromise. So
Yes.
we let not that don't pull them back, give them the opportunity of participating. As Madam Uma said, you don't have to make every fifth employee a women employee. 20% of the reservation not required, 30% of reservation no, but give them an opportunity when they actually can hit it right. With giving an opportunity and reservation, don't take a wrong talent when we talk about a hiring process. As we discuss, our next point by Radhakrishna sir is on the same, as to how the gender equality is brought in while hiring with the companies and on these equation. So putting again, the reframing the same thing for Radhakrishna Murthy sir. Gender bias during hiring pregnant women and newly married women, we do have this bias. I was told myself by my MD that in the profile, when one of the employees was telling about herself, she just told she got married in Jan and she was trying to come on board with my past company in the month of May. Then my MD has a doubt that this girl might go for a maternity break, which is her right. We just can't put her CV rejected just for the factor. So I want, what are the avenues for women employee in this kind of situations, and what are the resolutions that we as HR can set in as an example?
Good evening to all participants, and thank you, Bharati and the GHRD, for giving me this opportunity to address these participants. And now it is a valid question nowadays because some of the employers, in fact, I can say it is an unfair labor practice. It is an unfair labor practice. And before that, talking about the laws and other things, for every law there is a flaw, there can't be law without flaw. And people try to exploit the law through the flaws in the laws. That is normally, that's what is happening over here. And certainly this biasness, or no one can discriminate that a girl recently married, a woman recently married, and if due employment, she may conceive sooner or later. In that event, the employer may end up in giving the maternity leave without the employee woman working. Of course, she got to work a minimum period of 80 days, and then only she would be entitled for the maternity leave. All these things are there. Before law or anything else, it is the mindset of the people that has to change. It is very much important. Women empowerment, somebody need not empower the women. Women got to empower themselves, because the basic management principle is the opportunity won't be given, it has to be grabbed. If you are waiting for the opportunity, you may not get it. It is in the hands of the other side. If you are a grabber, it is in your hands, and that is why wherever such a. Another thing is that mere law is not enough. The mindset. Suppose in the event, if anything, for any woman employee, such woman employee comes across such a discrimination when she goes for an interview, will she be able to make a complaint? Or just she compromises herself? Okay, this is not for my employment. Why unnecessarily rupture, and another thing is creating a problem? This is also will be there. Definitely, the woman also has to come forward to report and complain about the injustice, so that it would awaken the employers. And it would help for the law enforcement authorities to implement law. Normally, the legislation brings the law, and it is the people who got to use, implement, and enforce the law and avail the benefits under law. And ultimately, if the people fails to use and enforce, Law is of no use. It confines only in the books. That is why what I can say straight an answer to the query raised by Bharati Garu is that employer can't discriminate. In certain cases, it so happens that if they are recently married, the employer thinks that he may end up soon giving the maternity leave. In certain cases, it so happens that some employers do ask me, unfortunately, that after joining the employee, we came to know that she conceived, and can we terminate her before she completes 18? Because they might be sharing and she might be applying for a casual leave during that period of 80 days, might be at the infancy period or whatever it is, and subsequently by a grip point talk, if the employer knows that she is conceived there. So even that, but the law gives protection to the woman employee. During the period of maternity leave, the employer is strictly prohibited, there is a strict bar from terminating the services of the woman employee. Even pre-delivery or post-delivery or whatever it is, the employer. So the legislation also might not have thought certain of the ill intentions that may crop up in the minds of the people in hiring the employees. Otherwise, they would have put it and specifically mentioned in the act. Act is silent about the discrimination in respect of the women, denying the employment on the ground that woman is going to conceive or already conceived, and she may be given, she has to be given a maternity leave, or when she asks for maternity leave before she becomes eligible for maternity leave to terminate the service, they might not have thought, but still, whether it is silent or is specifically mentioned in the law or not, it is an unfair labor practice. Certainly, it is an unfair labor practice. A complaint can be made. Another thing is that in the interview, and unfortunately, they try to suppose a HR head, a hiring, a talent acquisition manager, might be hiring at the time, they might be the women. The employer asks such women HR to impose condition and elicit such information from the woman colleague who is going to join or who came for the interview. That is also most unfortunate. And ultimately, how many HR people do say and oppose strongly to the employer? Women HR, rather I can say, forget about the men and other things. And ultimately, if the employer puts such a question, if the employer puts such a demand to the women HR head who got to hire a talent, how many oppose it? We got to question ourselves, introspect ourselves. So what I suggest is that you got to educate the employer. It is not. Then the question arises whether hit out or get out. The employer himself may say that then it is that he may say that HR is not listening to me, not obeying my instructions. It is a disobedience. We should be able to. We should be able to. That is why I say law itself doesn't help. The mindset of the people need to change. Be it an employer or employee or whatever it is, then only the law can be strictly implemented, or it can be enforced, or it can be applied, or whatever it is. That is one aspect. Another thing is that certain times the real aggrieved parties won't make complaint. Be it a domestic violence, be it a in-laws harassment or a 498A or whatever it is, many laws that protects the women. But in most of the cases, being a practitioner, a practicing lawyer for last 35 years, I have came across many cases where the genuine people are not coming. Certain people are abusing and misusing the process. When it is abused and misused, the sanctity of law is lost. So it is duty of everyone, one and all, to uphold the sanctity, not to misuse and abuse the law. In certain cases, so happens. The employers do complain to me. The women employees also has to rethink about it. They join, of course, might be working for 3 months or whatever it is, and they will be applying for nothing wrong in it. Fair enough, they can apply, and the employer is bound to give, and he will be giving the leave of whatever the 12 weeks or whatever it is, and he will be giving that 3 months, post 3 months, and other things and all. After giving the leave, instead of when they are expecting the employee to join back, they send a regret. saying that we are not able to join. And they don't be fair enough even in sending the regret mail. Some people get for a better prospect, they go to the other company. Naturally, the employer also feels. Many employers do complain to me that this is what is happening, sir. We gave nothing wrong and she's entitled. And at least we expect that she would come back and work. And if she got any medical problems, nothing wrong in it. Certain times, certain cases, medical problems will be there, that is okay. Where the medical problems are not there and just under the pretext of medical problems and quitting the employment and as well as joining with others, that is also not fair enough. We have to maintain the balance in respect of employer and employee. Only then the harmonious relation and implementation would take place. That is more important. Certainly, they cannot discriminate just because the woman is conceived already or going to conceive or deprive. No one can deprive the legal benefit, legal right that the woman employee is having. And such a thing is there. You'll have to create a forum where the woman employees has to bring it to the notice of the legislation also. These are the problems. Normally, whenever a law is made, few people would be sitting and there would be a committee proposing it all. In implementation, so many problems that crop up. In implementation, so many new issues that crop up. And these are the new issues. Certainly, the women forums can take it to the legislators, where the legislator can make a suitable amendments to that. Where the suitable amendments are made, then the employer will be mandatorily following, and he would also be afraid to ask such questions in the interview. Then it can be fairly implemented.
Yeah, sure. So adding on to this, one of such experiences that I had in my earlier organizations, there was a women employee who has taken, those days it was 3 months maternity leave. She has utilized that. And then post which she has applied for another 3 months of unpaid sick leave, which means that she did not expect salary from the organization, but it was like a break for her to get herself fit to work. After that 6 months of period, one fine day when we had to call her and find out if she's coming back to work, then she says she has got an offer in hand. That's what you told us. So
Yes,
there's something called as ethics always, which exists. And then while we are discussing, legality is not all about, but also the mindset changes, which is more important. So any law is mostly misused than used. The right person doesn't come forward to take the help or seek the help, but even in the posh cases that we see, wrong complaints and all that. So thank you so much, sir, for covering this particular point today. And Vanita, Akula, can you please mute yourself?
One more issue that about the post, you said you would, yes, we'll come later.
Sure, we'll come back to that. So I wish if we can cover that too right now. Post related concerns at workplace and extended workplace, if you can throw some light on that, then we can move to the other speaker.
Yes. And this act applies even to a visitor.
Yes.
Suppose in an organization where a visitor, women came, and anything such sort of harassment, that act also applies to the visitor. And there is also a workplace and extended workplace in certain of the cases. In the extended workplace, the meaning is that the employer is somebody, the vendor, mostly IT, ITES and service sector it happens, and they will be deployed or deputed to the client's establishment where they would be working with the client establishment. Suppose a woman employee of the client establishment, a male employee of the client establishment harasses the woman employee of the vendor's establishment. Then who has to take action? Who has to take it? And it all depends on the role that the culprit or the person who has got the delinquent, and whosoever was the delinquent employee is there who harassed, that employer has to take action and under the Posh Act, and the ICC has to ICC of that particular employer where the delinquent employee is to take action about that. That has to be there. Another thing is that whenever a complaint is made by a woman employee is also entitled for the maximum period of 3 months leave to face the inquiry. Suppose in the event if it disturbs her mind or if it causes any mental agony because of such things which are unexpected and unbecoming it happens, women employee also entitled for leave. Women employee also can apply for leave in such cases. And it has to be completely maintained confidentiality, and they can also seek in-camera proceedings when it comes to. And the women employee also have a right, besides making a complaint under POSH and ICC making an inquiry, they also have an equal right to directly lodge a complaint also to the police under the general provisions of law. They can lodge a complaint, and simultaneously these proceedings can. Yes, Paul.
Yeah, sure.
Because the other speakers too have.
Sure. So majorly we just covered on the aspects of POSH and avenues that women employees have at workplace. Then moving on to Neha mentioned, my question to you is, what is the difference between intelligence and multiple intelligence? What is multiple intelligence as a concept?
Hi Bharti, hi everyone. Hope I'm audible to you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so very good evening everyone. And very good evening. I'm overwhelmed actually to hear each one of you, the different speakers are here, they're sharing their experiences. So I'm actually absolutely delighted to hear your views about how women can actually go forward. Coming to the point of speaking about the difference between what intelligence and multiple intelligence is. So intelligence, mainly whenever we spoke about intelligence, usually people think it's all about IQ, intelligence quotient. So it majorly deals with how intelligent a person is, how he responds, how psychometrics, how does he answer that, numerical. So it majorly talks about that. But multiple intelligence, there are 8 aspects to that. So there are 8 different intelligence that every human being possesses. And these 8 intelligences, it is there in all the human beings in different ratios. So whatever the dominant intelligences are, according to that, the human will act. So now the reason I have mentioned here human intelligence, because we are all human. It's irrespective of women and men. These can be in different ratios for either of the genders. So when we talk about intelligence, so there are 8 intelligence that I spoke about. It's kinesthetic, linguistic, visual spatial, musical, naturalist, logical, interpersonal, and intrapersonal. These intelligences work on a different level, and the person then responds or acts and behaves in according to them. So for example, now when we are talking about the workplace here, so suppose if I am a person who is high with logic, I have a high logical intelligence, and of course with combination of others. So say linguistics. So my logic is high, my linguistic is high. So logical intelligence, usually what people think is how the person is good with his mathematical calculation. That's what usually people perceive. But logical intelligence doesn't only deal with maths. I'm absolutely, I'm versed at maths. You give me a mathematical calculation, I'll be really bad at it. But then logics not only covers mathematical calculation, it talks about the decision-making capacity of a person. So when you go to the rural areas, they're illiterate people, but doesn't mean that they do not have logic. So their decision-making capacity, they believe in facts and figures. They basically want to experience things and then come to a conclusion. So their decision-making is high, their logic is very high in these regards. And when a person is with a high linguistic, so these people, they are very expressive. So linguistic, we always thought about, a person, how he speaks. It's not just about speaking, it's how you are expressing yourself to the outer world. So its expression can be in any form. Expression can be in the form of art, in the form of painting, drawing, acting. Expression comes out when you learn foreign languages. So these people, they absolutely love learning foreign languages. And when these kids are there, when you talk about kids or when you talk about teenagers, when they are given an opportunity, they are much more expressive to their parents. They are very good at debating, and these people are good when you put them into the sales and marketing places. Because ultimately, whenever at workplace, what we want is a happy customer. And how we get a happy customer? If we are able to talk to him and if we are able to convince him, deal well with him. So linguistic people can be really good at sales and marketing. At the same time, if I'm a linguistic person and you make me sit at one corner and give me a computer work, how do you think my productivity would be? I will not at all be productive because my need, it's like food. All the intelligences that we have, it's like food to us. If I am not given my food, how will I behave on the platform? How energetic will I be? So when we have different intelligences, and that is when we are fed with, we perform better. So it's when we are there, and like we majorly all here are HR personnel. When we are at the workplace, we really need to understand what kind of a background that person is having, what intelligence that person is from. If that person is given the right kind of job, your productivity will be double of what you could actually get out of that person. So a visual spatial person they are very imaginative people. You know, films like Bahubali and superheroes, these characters, they're all made from the people who are with high visual spatial intelligence. So architects, uh, graphic designers, these are all people who have high visual spatial intelligence here. Similarly, when I talk about say musical intelligence people are with high emotions. So music and emotions work in combination together. And musical intelligence people, you know, you would have heard people, they are not able to sleep without that fan ka wo gad gad awaaz aata hai. They cannot sleep without that sound. Even when they are working, they are cooking, whatever they're doing, their music is continuously on. If the music is not there, they are not able to perform. So music gives them a boost. So musical intelligence actually brings out the emotions in them. So when they are, you would have seen a lot of videos, YouTube videos, where internationally they have brought in the culture when people are just standing up and dancing together during the lunch break or during any kind of break. This is one of the reasons why they have started doing, because people who enjoy music, dancing, they will on the shop floor, they will enjoy that and be happy to perform at the workplace and be there with their whole heart and mind. Some teachers, you know, they are very good as naturalists. So naturalists are people, usually what do we think? Naturalists are nature lovers. So they talk about trees and animals. So naturalist is not just about animals and trees, but it is also about how caring and loving or outgoing you are to take care of that other person. So teachers are very good with naturalists. They have high linguistic naturalists both together. You know, some teachers, you would have known that they go out of their way to help the kid. They would take extra classes, extra tuitions. कि नहीं मुझे इस बच्चे को पढ़ाना ही आगे लेकर ही आना है. So they would go an extra mile. And remember, these these teachers are very observant also. So they are very good paper checkers. So their observing skills are also very high. So if we have a right person who has that intelligence fit into the right role, the perfect role, then the outcome is absolutely great. Intrapersonal and interpersonal are two other intelligences, which is like totally opposite to each other. Intrapersonal intelligence talks about a little. Husna, again, I request you to please mute. Thank you. So intrapersonal person is someone who is a little reserved kind of a person, who doesn't like to talk much. But at the same time, this person will have a high self-respect, or you can say that they are a little egoistic. It's either their way or highway. They want things to be done, whatever that is how they have said. So, for example, Amitabh Bachchan, you would have all seen the movie Mohabbatein. So Amitabh Bachchan was a person who was with high intrapersonal. उसने जो बोल दिया सो बोल दिया with, and he would not compromise on whatever he wants to say, even if it comes to his family also. So parents who whose kids have done the love marriages, they will stop talking to their kids, but because it was their ego. So we have to, there's nothing right or wrong. According to multiple intelligence theory, this theory was actually created by Dr. Howard Gardner. There's nothing right or wrong. It's just the intelligence that a person behaves in that particular aspect or a particular manner. So when we understand that this person's personality is such type, the conflicts at workplace, also at home, will automatically go down. We will have a better environment, better relationships, and ultimately we ourselves will be happier. So when we have when firstly we have to understand what our intelligence types are. When we know what kind of intelligence we perceive, we will be able to deal with other people better also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha. That was really a good insight, because for most of us, I think intelligence was so far only the IQ and EQ, all these questions that we discussed so far. So, but you have given us the perspective of what actually a multiple intelligence really means. And my next question to Madam Uma would be that, what do women really want from organizations to feel that they are empowered? I think I have to repeat. Madam Uma, my question is to you. What do women really want from organizations to feel empowerment? Madam, you are on mute.
Hello, madam. Sorry. Can you please repeat?
Madam Uma is on mute.
Uma ma'am, you're on mute. We can.
Okay, I think she's on some call, I guess. Madam Uma, I think she's on call. So let me move on to Padmakshi Lokesh. Padmakshi, we just want to know, how did the pandemic affect the gender diversity related factors at workplace, both from work from home, work from office, and the hybrid models as
well? It were affected in a very major way. People were actually traveling, meeting a lot of people. Now sitting in one single place, they're unable to deal with that. There's a huge, tremendous change. That is the one major thing we have seen. Many people actually now want to go back to their office and work. They're like, before, in the initial phases, it was lovely about no traveling and all that stuff. But now they're like, no, I cannot take being at home. There is much more work than before. There are women who are like, I need to cook also, and I need to work also. At least before there was a maid, now the maid also is not there. The children are not cooperating. No, the husband is not cooperating. This is what the kind of complaints we have actually got. They're like totally unhappy with the work from home scenario. If at all it's going to be like gates open, trust me, people are going to just run into their offices and say, I'm going to settle down here. Then they're going to be sleep from office. They'll probably sleep there only for some time till their heart's content. That's the kind of mental disturbance which they have seen. There's a lot of loneliness which has been reported. People feel, I am unable to meet my friends. There is no recreation activity at all. I feel very lonely, very depressed. So there's a lot of changes which has been happened. Work did happen. It is not that it did not, but still what we have actually noticed is productivity still remains the same. When they even went work from office or work from home, except that minus travel, other than that, the productivity remains the same. And some of the places productivity has reduced, where women are actually complaining. Even men too, they are complaining. There is no one to take care of the child. So that is the reason this time I'm sitting over there and stuff like that. So work from home has seen its own pros and cons. Lot of issues have been reported. Probably let's hope and cross fingers and just not work from home. We'll only work at our own house, doing our daily activities. And if we have work to do, let's go out. I am also waiting to literally run away from my 4 zones, because it gives a lot of loneliness, lonely feeling. If many people have felt stuck, it looks like I'm stuck here. I'm unable to come out of it. So this is one of the negative things which we have seen. So probably if they choose to work from home and they feel they are better, fine. Otherwise, please come out of your houses. It's like coming out of your nutshell and enjoying life.
Thank you for that perspective, Padmakshi. My next point would be, again, going back to Madam Uma. Wanted to know, again, repeating the same question, Madam. So what do you think that women would really want from the organizations to feel empowered?
Yeah. So I think, as I kind of alluded earlier, what women are looking is a conducive climate. What women are looking for is some degree of flexibility. What women are looking for is, opportunity to get into every function and not be told that this is not for you and this is not for somebody else and things like that. That is not what people are looking for, especially women. I also feel that they are not necessarily looking for reservations and things like that. Though personally, I think it's not a bad idea, because when you want to increase the mass at a particular time, you will have to resort to certain very quick measures, harsh measures to make things happen. But I think that's not what women are looking for. But what makes me feel happy, in other words, as a woman, is, when I know the organization is taking care of me and the organization is listening to me and the organization is willing to amend its ways of working if it makes it better for the women. For example, having some designated parking spots for pregnant women, right? Having places which are closer to the door or the gate for such people during that time. I think it helps a lot. And is it something a big deal for an organization? No. But, this is something that they will need to do. And the other one is, I also feel that the women expect organization to invest in them, provide them with mentorship, sponsorship at the highest leadership level. It's very important. If there are no sponsors for women related issues, then those issues, as I told you earlier, will never be heard, because 90% or 95% of the people are all men, and they will only represent their case, right? So sponsorship is very, very important of a senior executive leader, preferably the managing director of the company or somebody really senior, chairman, who actually looks at this agenda. The fourth thing is, in manufacturing setup, since I worked there, this is very important to understand that you need to have machines which have got ergonomics. A lot of women who want to work in manufacturing, but when you make it very difficult with age-old machines which are heavy to operate and difficult to run, then, women will never feel encouraged to go there. So in our Pantnagar plant, for example, most of the things are working on robotics, and, the ergonomics is very, very well designed for women to operate machines. Also for generations, okay, because we have 5 generations of people. So senior people also need to be operating it with some ease and therefore become more productive. So, look at situations where you are willing to invest so that it becomes an equal world for women. Actually, what women are looking for, and I can speak for myself, I look for a balanced world. I'm not looking for a world which is skewed with women or skewed with men. I'm actually looking for a balanced world. And most women possibly want to look at a balanced world. But another thing is, women don't want others who are judgmental towards them. The clothes that they wear, or, the company that they keep. We don't want anybody to tell us what we should be doing and not doing. As long as it's within the defined policy of the organization, really nobody should be having too many difficulties in having women be themselves. I mean, at the end, you have to be yourself to be your best. If I were to ask a man to dress differently and come, just because, I am in a majority as a woman, as women, they are a majority, they will find it very difficult, claustrophobic, right? They'll not like it. And therefore, I think that space has to be allowed for women. The last thing is, what is the language within the organization that is used? This is also something very important, which reeks of bias or talks of balance, right? If you use paternalistic words like we are protecting you, we are, doing something for you, well, please, God, this is not a country to be protected. We're women, we can take care of ourselves. So we don't want that kind of a language. Even the travel policies, for example, some policies say, for your safety and protection, we are doing this. No, what do you mean to say? Only a woman needs safety and protection. A man doesn't need at night, or what? if you have to travel. So are you trying to say that, so you're being very insensitive by saying that, this is only for women? And that's again paternalistic language. Many people in our society think that's the right thing to do. But I'm sorry to say that's not the right thing to do. If you don't do it for a man, don't do it for a woman. Very simple yardstick to remember. And the language that you use in organizations and social media, interviews, the press releases you do, if all the language is he, and he, and he, and there's no space for a she anywhere or anybody else, then, I'm sorry, I don't think in future such organizations will attract good talent. So even from the ESG point of view, the environment, society and governance, which is picking up over CSR today in a big way, if women are not participating in the workforce, I think the companies are going to have a very tough time as they go forward. And so in automobile, for example, they're moving so much towards electric vehicles. Electric vehicles can be run by anybody. It can be developed by anybody, right? It's not like those huge machines in the factory. And so, come on, are you kidding yourself if you say that I can have a man's world here? I'm sorry, I think you're digging your grave for the company. So I would say what women want is empathy. We want sponsorship. We want an understanding for some flexibility, because if women are taken care of, they can be, I can guarantee my life, and I put my neck on the block, they can be doubly productive than men in an organization. But it's for the organizations to try that. And I think many organizations are doing it. So that's what I think, Bharti, women want. Thank you.
That's quite enlightening topics that you have actually brought in, madam. So that's where it is. Protection, security, safety, all these words we are fed up hearing all these years. Now it's all that equality and equal opportunity. That's it. So moving on to our question and answer session, due to the time constraint, we just have we can take 2 to 3 questions. As initially, Mr. Srinivas had a query here in the chat to Mr. Murthy. So, sir, can you please take us through that particular query, where he says, Dear Radhakrishna Garu, most of the cases of workplace harassment, women harassment, women is incapacitated, and would like to know what protection is there to the whistleblower. So he comes from the whistleblower perspective. Can you throw some light on this?
The thing is that we can give a gun, but a killer instinct can't be given. The law would protect, law gives the necessary protection and other things, and it is for ultimately the women who got to exercise their rights. So for that, they need to be educated, and one should give the confidence. And the other thing is that if the complaint is reached to the whistleblowing, there is a section of the vigilance or whatever it is. First, they should have a confidence on that whistleblowing team. Suppose in the event if it misfires, they lose the confidence. It is not. It will not be whistleblowing, and it would be blowing the complainant, who is the aggrieved party. That is why, first of all, you need to educate what are the rights. Many may not be, ignorance of law is not excusable. Many may not be knowing of their rights. It is better to educate the rights before educate. Besides educating the rights, the legal rights or whatever it is they have, you also have to change their mindset, give necessary training to them, necessary counseling, rather to say it is not a training, it is a counseling to face the things and to build the capacity to fight and make a complaint.
So even before moving on to the next questions, today, due to the time consideration, we couldn't actually cover certain points where I would leave a food for thought for the people who have been a part of this session today. We thought of also discussing on the gender-related discriminations at various levels at life cycle management, employee life cycle management. Start from talent acquisition till separation. What are the various levels of discrimination that we actually tend to see in an organization? What is the ideal remedy that we would suggest for women employees to be having to work against the workplace stress? And a couple of things as to work from home effects on the behavioral patterns of women employees. And then we thought about discussing on the contract workforce and their rights and rights and avenues. So these points we couldn't cover today, but still I want to mention that here, because this is where something we actually have to brainstorm maybe in the future sessions eventually on the women forums. So now moving on to the next question, we can possibly take one more question from the team, and then we can close the session with a vote of thanks. Any other questions from the team? You can either unmute yourself and pose the question or put it in the chat box. No questions?
Yeah, I have another question, which is a continuation of my previous one, that
Sure, yeah.
the young graduates need to be trained, like what are their rights. See, ours is a pharmacy institution. We do a lot of conferences and all that. But at the end, at workplace, what HR policies, what rights that they need to know. If anyone in Hyderabad, any HR professionals, eminent people like you are there, if you can make it a visit to our institution, which is in the center of the Hyderabad, that is Tarnaka, then we do all logistics required. We have around 500-600 girl students in our college. So I invite your, the team of HR professional group to give us some inputs for the benefit of our students.
Sure. So you're talking about something on a campus corporate connect. We would love to do that. So possibly through Srinivas Gopalam, I take this responsibility. We will come back to you on that, sir. Thank you for inviting us. And then we would love to be part of that group. So to close this program, if all the queries are over, I would rather put this as a thank giving or a vote of thanks. National Women's Webinar has been supported by Sarojini Naidu, Vanita Pharmacy, Mahila Vidyalaya, and its staff at various levels. Thank you for making this session today such a grand success. And we have 250 people who have logged on to the call. Eventually at various levels, few have dropped off. Thank you for the participants who have been so patient and participative, and also to the panelists who have given their valuable time in sharing their experiences. My sincere gratitude to all the panelists like Uma Madam, Murthy Sir, Usha, and Neha, and everyone who has been there on the call, Padmakshi, everyone here. And then a lot of support has come from the HR fraternity across industry in formulating this program and accumulating the various required resources for this session today. We take this opportunity and thank all of them. If I have missed out someone, please excuse me for that. And we look forward for more and more sessions like this and keep the momentum of the continual learning environment. I would for sure not expect us to wait for one more year for another Women's Day to happen. But then eventually, if something else comes up in the middle of the year, we just have to have a reason to meet. It could be virtual or physical. The more and more learnings, the more and more excitement that we generate also with the Campus Corporate Connect as well. So thank you each and everyone. Thank you, Mr. Srinivas, for making such a great platform. You have brought up so many resources together and made this platform even more colorful and engaging. Thank you each one and all, every one of you have given your time today. And I think we are at the close of this. If I can close this session, or any of the panelists wish to make any closing remark.
Yeah, pleasure is ours, madam. It's a nice session.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Our absolute pleasure to be here. Bharti, thank you. I think you were the best who did the best job here. Coordination to getting all people together, and
thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Bharti. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Srinivas and the GHRD forum.
Thank you.
And it was great meeting you, all the panelists.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, each one and all.
Thank you.